What's up, good people? Welcome to TajeAstrology. It's time for a little astrology gossip. Let's take a look at these celebrities' astrological placements to see what they're really like behind closed doors and take a look at the energy that's around them. Yeah, we gonna be all up in their business, but keep in mind that all readings are for entertainment purposes only. So you ready? Let's go. What's up, everyone? It's your girl Tan, and welcome to Taje Astrology, and y'all already know what time it is. It's time for another couples reading. Okay, so y'all can see today we are talking about Brenay, Tim, and Akira. All right, and this is a couple's request that was done by C underscore Philly underscore live. So shout out to C Philly Live. I appreciate the couple's request. Now, I had kind of heard of this story, but I really didn't like delve into it until, of course, See Philly Live brought it to my attention. So I pulled the charts. Now, technically, See Philly gave me Brenay and Tim's information. All right. Now, how See Philly Live ended up with Brenay's birth time, I'm not certain. We ain't even gonna go there. I went ahead and pulled up Akira's information as well because I thought that that would be very important in this particular couple's reading, right? So I did just a very little research on the matter, all right? And so what I came up with is that Akira sued Brenay, which was her best friend, if I'm not mistaken, for having an affair with her husband, Tim, and was awarded $1.75 million. That was a judgment that was done this past November. So that's November 2025, because we are now in 2026. Okay, now Akira and Tim, they're now divorced. And again, this is what I'm getting off the internet. And that there are reports that Brenay and Tim married, I guess technically last year, because we just got into 2026, as I just mentioned. Now, of course, there is a lot of drama that goes with this story. Just go ahead and look it up. Technically, I didn't. Really, the only thing that I did, I pulled up like one uh like article on it, and I think it was, I don't even remember who the article was on. So I didn't look at any YouTube, no TikToks, anything along that line. But make sure if you do a Google search, you'll be able to find out, especially I guess TikTok, of course, went crazy over it. So if you want to go check it out, and it looked like all three of these people were on TikTok as well. So you want to go ahead, research it, fill in the blanks. But y'all know how we do. That right there, enough is enough for us to take a look, be nosy, and see what their astrological dynamics are between this trio. At least I was intrigued. All right. So, of course, we have Brenay, and this was the information that was given to me. Again, shout out to See Philly Live. So, Brenay's information, born December 31st, 1998, in Baltimore, Maryland. A time was given, and I took that into consideration a little bit. Um, since I didn't have the time on everybody else, the time gives you the rising, which I did find interesting, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I didn't have the time and the time on Tim and Akira, so we're just going to keep it like straight down the middle. Tim, information I have, born January 9th. Let me see, is that right? January 9th. Hold on. Yep, January 9th, 1998, in Durham, North Carolina. And then I was able to find online about Akira. So if I'm correct, her date of birth is August 24th, 1998. And so in Durham, North Carolina is the birth location. Now, first thing, these people are very young people, not to discredit any of their experience, but they're young people, and so we have to take that into consideration. All right, so let's take a look at Akira. So, because what we're going to do, we're going to take a look at each one of them's placement, and then we're going to take a look at them as far as couples. All right, so let's take a look at Miss Brenay. All right, so Miss Brenay, again, December 31st, 1998, Capricorn Sun, Gemini Moon, Sagittarius Mercury, Capricorn Venus, Libra Mars, Pisces Jupiter, Aries Saturn, Aquarius, Uranus and Neptune, Sagittarius Pluto, Leo North Node, Aquarius South Node, and Chiron Scorpio. Okay. And just with the take into consideration the Sun, Moon, and Mercury, Venus. All right. So that Capricorn Sun tells me that typically Capricorn Suns are very mature, very grounded, very centered about their money. Okay. Really kind of like no nonsense type of people. Now, with that Sagittarius Mercury, Mercury is communication. And so Mercury is going to be high communication, probably very jovial. So she's probably a very fun person to be around, uh, and probably likes to talk. With that Gemini moons, they are, again, Gemini is communication as well, right? And so what that tells me is that she doesn't have a problem communicating how she feels. And what I have found with Gemini moons is that sometimes they can lie to preserve people's feelings. It's, especially like in relationships or some type of emotional, uh, if there's like an emotional energy there where you may not want to hurt someone's feelings, or you just feel that person can't handle how you really feel, that they may have a tendency to lie. Now, with Capricorn Venus, that also tells me again, probably about that money, likes the finer things in life, but is going to make sure she makes the right financial decisions in that, pertaining to the money. All right. And let's take a look real quick at Mr. Tim. All right. So again, Capricorn Sun. Most Capricorn Suns are about their money. They like to focus on work. Again, Gemini Moon. So I hate to say that Gemini Moons are liars, because they don't necessarily lie to hurt, but to protect. But a lie is a lie, right? So again, Gemini Moon probably gonna tell the white lies, if you would, not to hurt people's feelings, doesn't have a problem communicating how they feel in that. Again, Sagittarius Mercury, so very a big communicator. And it could reflect that lies are in place, but it's also going to be with the person. We have an Aquarius Venus. So what that tells me, anytime I see Aquarius Venus, Venus is a love language, and I see detachment. So it's easy for people that are Aquarius, Venus Aquarius people. They can detach regarding love. Not saying that they don't love, but if they need to, detach, they can. All right. And then let's quickly go over to Miss Akira. Okay, so Akira is Virgo Sun. Virgo Suns are they're nurturing, and they are the Virgo is the perfectionist, right? So Virgos like to strive for perfection in themselves and their partners. Okay, so with that, Virgos can kind of seem a little nitpicky and naggy, but it's not to like get on your nerves. It's really to kind of make you a better person. So it's really to like build a person up. That Libra moon tells me that, because moon is emotions, is feelings, that Akira, relationships and partnerships is very important to Akira. All right. And in that, Libra moon people, they tend to avoid confrontation at all costs for the most point, because they want that harmony. They want that balance within their emotions and that relationship. What I found interesting is that Miss Akira has Leo, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, and that's a lot of big Leo energy. And we know that Leo is ruled by the sun, so they like to be the center of attention. All focus on them. They like to do things big, and so with Mercury, Leo, Mercury, uh, kind of indicates that conversations always circle back to her, right? Venus, that's love. You know, not only do she love big, but want that admiration. Leo's like admiration. And so Mars as well, I'm sure that if a scene needs to be made, it can be made with that Leo Mars energy. Now, what I want to do now, because this is really, I mean, it's not technically a throuple, but we're going to play like it is in this regard. All right, so I'm going to try to go through this as quickly as possible, but there's a lot of information, so just hang tight, hang tight. All right, so if you look at the visual that I have here, you can see that Brenay and Tim have a lot of common planets, a lot of common placements, right? Sun, Moon, Mercury, Saturn, Uranus, and Pluto. That alone right there brings about an energetic bond that a lot of people don't have, because when you share a common planet or placement with a person, there's a mirroring effect, right? But then also it could be like too much of the same thing, right? So that Sun, Capricorn Sun, shared demeanor, probably both about their money, can retreat into their work when confrontation may arise. That Gemini moon between the two, again, emotional communication, playful banter, teasing. Um, Again, there is a tendency to lie, especially pertaining to relationships and sparing other people their feelings. When we're looking at Brenay and Tim, and then at Mercury, Sagittarius, again, big communication. They probably have a lot of fun communicating. Now, what I found interesting, because I was given the time for Brenay, her rising time or her rising sign is Virgo, which is Akira's sun sign, right? So I do believe that Brenay may appear to have a lot of Virgo energy, but I think that Gemini moon and that Sagittarius Mercury makes it a little less intense, if you would. So I would love to find out what Akira's rising sign is. But okay, so speaking with Brenay and Tim, there's strong mental and emotional understanding. Okay, again, a Gemini moon, Sagittarius Mercury, that creates easy communication and mental stimulation. Really, so like they get each other. They get how they think, how they process emotions. Again, conversations probably fast, witty, mentally engaging. Right, that is that, because that's a lot of Gemini communication, Mercury energy there, and Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. That's a lot, right? They also have an aligned life direction with that Capricorn Sun, right? So they share similar values around work, responsibility, goals, and long-term planning. With this placement, there's mutual respect or discipline and growth. There's also like strong potential for building something tangible together. So it could be like business legacy stability, because that's what that energy brings. Now, there is a mirroring energy, right? A deep recognition of one another. The shared sun, moon, Mercury, that creates a powerful sense of familiarity, right? Again, there's a lot of mirroring that's going on between them. Each of them, they see and they see each other's reflection in one another, right? And that can bring like a feeling of validation, probably comforting. Their emotional rhythms and mental habits are like naturally in sync with this particular placement. Now, of course, there's good and then there's bad, right? So again, when you have a lot of mirroring going on, it could be too much of the same thing. So there could be a clash with that Venus, because you have the security versus freedom. So Brenay's Capricorn Venus, that Capricorn Venus seeks commitment, consistency, and that traditional relationship structure, right? Again, earth sound, earth sign, grounding, stable, solid. But then you got Tim's Aquarius Venus. Remember when I said Aquarius Venus can disconnect at a drop of a dime. That Aquarius Venus needs independence, emotional space, and like unconventional dynamics. Aquarius is unconventional energies, thought processes, movements, right? And so this can create like tension around closeness versus detachment, right? Again, and that's not saying that there's not love there, but if he needs to detach for whatever reason, if it gets too much or he feels like it's too much is required, he can emotionally detach and it'd be like nothing ever happened. Uh, the emotional detachment on both sides, because you have the Capricorn Sun, Gemini Moon, that combination can intellectualize feelings rather than to feel them, right? You intellectualize, you try to make sense of it. And with this, both they can avoid emotional vulnerability, because Capricorns, they're not really like the emotional type of people, right? And with that emotional avoidance of emotional vulnerability, this can lead to emotional distance if not addressed, right? And any issues that they may have, it may be talked about, but not emotionally processed. It may be intellectualized, but not emotionally processed, and that could pose a problem in the future if not recognized and dealt with. Again, mirror energy, too similar, okay, power struggles can happen, because being so alike, it can cause like a competition, a layer of stubbornness, as well as like ego clashes, right? And with this, because they both have very strong with that Capricorn Sun. Capricorns are the authoritarians of the zodiac, right? So they both may feel like their way is the right way. And this is a what's the word? Uh, I can't even think of the word, but it's basically, what's the word that I want to use? I can't even think of the actual uh, astrological term. I can't think of it. But anyway, um, they're going to be the authoritarians. And so that can cause like egos to clash, because, again, they're going to feel like their way is the right way. Right. And so with this uh, dynamic, growth is going to be required for conscious compromise, and not like mirroring the defensiveness. I'm right. No, I'm right. Well, and I wish I could think of. Okay, hold on, y'all. Let me think. Okay, because you have it's the ones that they're not moving, they're not changing. They are like, let's just say stubborn, because that's not the word. I'm sure it'll come to me at the end. So that's their dynamic. So let's take a look at Tim and Akira's dynamic. All right. The sun sign Capricorn and Virgo. Okay, like I said, they typically work well together. They offer a mature, grounding energy. Typically, there's the same goals of stability. With that Virgo energy, she may come across a little naggy. He may have like a level of avoidance in regards to like accountability. Moon sign, you got Virgo. You have Gemini and Libra again, you know, Gemini moons, they like a variety of good conversation. Libra moons are focused on a relationship and they will avoid confrontation for the sake of the relationship. With her Mercury, Venus, and Mars in Leo, like I said before, that is a lot of big Leo energy where the focus may have to always get back on her, and it could be regarding wants, needs, emotions, because Leos, they just require that, they just naturally require admiration. And again, with his Aquarius, Venus, and Mars, that may allow him to detach quickly. Now, what I do see is that they do share a lot of generational signs. So that's your Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, right? As well as karmic signs, so North Node, South Node. And what that shows me is that they are each other's karmic reminders, right? And what I believe with the North Node in Virgo, South Node in Pisces, is the lesson is to make sure that they don't look at life through rose-colored glasses and to see things as they are, and to not require more of your partner than you're able to give yourself, right? But with their dynamics, with their aspects, there is strong mental stimulation, right? We have Tim's moon, Gemini moon, plus that Sagittarius Mercury, all right? And that energy, again, thrives on communications, ideas. Akira's Libra moon and Leo Mercury enjoys expressive, engaging dialogue. So I think that they had that lively banter, that humor, their intellectual curiosity, right? And I believe that that's what kept the relationship mentally alive. Now, I also, with that Capricorn Sun, Tim's Capricorn Sun, Kira's Virgo Sun, that brings a level of mutual growth through differences, right? And so it brings structure, ambition, realism. That Virgo Sun adds like practicality, a level of discernment and problem solving. So I think they balance each other well that way. Both these earth signs, this is what we have, two earth signs that gives the relationship a foundation of mutual respect, reliability. I do believe that they did have shared goals, even if they were like expressed a little differently, right? With that Aquarius Venus, Akira's Libra Venus, I think that created like an exciting romantic energy, right? Because that Aquarius Venus, it values freedom, uniqueness, and friendship and love. That's very important with Aquarius Venus, where your Leo Venus creates the passion, the loyalty, the admiration. So this oppositional style energy, it creates a strong attraction. Let me get the words out. Excitement, and there is a feeling that the other's difference is intriguing, right? So they had this intriguing value about each other and romantically. Now, the challenges that I do believe that they had is the different emotional processing styles, right? The Gemini moon, again, intellectualize the feelings and moves on quickly. They want to say what they got to say, and then, okay, that's it. Where Libra moon wants that emotional balance, that validation and harmony. They're not trying to, but they want that harmony. And I think that with this dynamic, Akira could be feeling like her emotions are unmet, while that Gemini moon may cause Tim to feel like it might be too much pressure to engage emotionally longer than he would like or what he was comfortable with. Because, with Gemini, that's quick. It's quick. Libra, air is gonna it wants to take the time and get it out. You know what I mean? There is like a mismatch with that love language. Again, Aquarius moon shows love through space, idea, and independence, where that Leo moon needs like warmth, attention, and like visible affection. Make a big deal out of the fact that you love me, right? Where that may not be Aquarius Venus style. And so with this, Akira may feel like underappreciated, while that requirement from Akira may have Tim feeling like it's too much, because that Aquarius, if you put too much emotionally demanding on them, what they gonna do? Everyone say detach, right? Okay, so ego versus detachment tension, right? So that's that Leo, Mercury, Venus, the communication with pride, passion, and a personal flair, all right? Where that Sagittarius, Mercury, Aquarius, Venus, Sagittarius, we know the Sagittarius can be blunt. So when you have Sagittarius and Mercury, and then you add in the Aquarius Venus, which is a detachment and kind of like idealistic, this can trigger emotional and ego clashes. And I think that in this dynamic, Akira could have felt like dismissed. And, with it, Tim, he may have felt misunderstood. So here's the summary. I do believe that he had genuine love for Akira, as well as with Brenay, clearly. I do believe that Brenay's energy is a little less demanding, right? Um, I believe that Akira's focus and priorities was like towards the relationship, but I believe that Brenay and the energy that Brenay has, according to the astrological aspects, she gets him. Men they need that ego stroke. Where I think that Akira's big Leo energy was more focused on how she felt in a relationship. Not saying that she didn't consider his feelings, but that may not have been the priority. And again, men like to their egos to be stroked, and they like to be, priority, just naturally, regardless of the sign. Let me see here. Read my notes. I believe that the Leo moon demanded justice, right? And I think that's why we're looking at the lawsuit, right? And with it being a Leo moon, that's going to be towards emotions. So I think, she feels good about what she did and the result. And I think that she feels justified because I think there, of course, there's a feeling of betrayal on between him and between Brenay, especially if they were best friends. So that Libra is here to bring justice and balance in making shit right. Let's see. Now I do. Oh, and then also, that big Leo energy. Leos like to do it big, and you can't get no bigger than $1.75 million lawsuit judgment. All right. Now, what I did notice is they all have Uranus, uh, Aquarius, right? So really, this energy is just the ability to detach and do rational, unexpected things. So they had that in the generational planets. So, and they're young. I think that will kind of calm down once they are a little bit older. And really, based on the placements and just even with this visual here, I'm not really surprised that he flipped from Akira to Brenay just with the energetic dynamics. And that's just to keep it real. I don't know none of them. I'm just looking at their placements based on the energy that was given to me. I don't believe that Akira was getting the attention and the focus and the admiration that she needed from Tim. And I believe that the dynamic between Brenay and Tim versus Akira and Tim, it's not the same, right? Like he's like the same person, but based on these aspects, their relationship, his relationship with Akira, his relationship with Brenay is different, right? Um, I do believe that with the Gemini moon and the Aquarius Venus, that Tim likes variety, right? And there may be some unexpected things to come up from that. Okay. Moon, Aquarius is love, relationships. Aquariuses can detach. Gemini moons, they like a variety. So, take that as you will. I do believe that Akira could do better with like another Virgo, a Taurus, or maybe a Pisces sun or moon, because they have the capability of giving the emotional support that maybe a Capricorn sun cannot, right? Uh, I also see that they all, and I didn't list it here, I forgot to list it, that they all have Chiron Scorpio, right? And this brings unhealed wounds about being betrayed and maybe even a resistance to transformation. And so I think that they can trigger that in each other as well as heal that with each other. But I will say that Brenay, how she acquired him will be on in the back of her mind on whether or not she's going to be able to keep him for the long haul, if that makes any sense. And with that Aquarius Venus, it may not be, I'm not saying that they don't have a solid relationship, but it may not be as solid as she might want it to be. Right? Okay, so Tim and Brenay, you have the mental and emotional alignment, same kind of life directions and romantic style. They're all in alignment. And this brings like a best friend to life partner type of connection. It will grow stronger over time if Tim shows consistency. Okay, not give in to that variety, wanting to scratch that itch when something new and exciting comes, as well as Brenay loosens control over them, because you really can't like have too much control over anyone that has strong Aquarius energy, right? And I think that the chemistry is very chemistry heavy, and it's, lessons based on connection, right? Now with fine, okay, so who do I feel that Tim is most compatible with? And, I know a lot of people are not going to like this, but hey, I'm just reading the charts. And I believe, based on the chart, based on the shared moon, sun, and Mercury, which that's a rare alignment, the natural understanding without like emotional chaos, long term partnership potential, less drama, more longevity, uh, is Brenay. And that's why I said earlier, I'm not surprised. I'm just not surprised. And again, like I said, I don't know these people. I'm just reading their charts. Akira, there was an attraction. Um, I think that again, the strong Leo energy, it requires a lot of ego validation. There was passion there, and I think that the short term excitement is what got him, but it the dynamics don't lead to long term emotional peace, right? And my love zodies, this is why I just say this, and I don't just say this because I do astrology, but it's very very important. I know that Tim and Kira got together when they were young. Hell, they're still all young, but it's very important to make sure that you seek a partner with intention. And I'm not saying that they didn't, but I will always, always, always recommend a couple's compatibility reading before getting seriously involved with anyone, just to see the levels of compatibility. And the thing of it is that Tim and Akira, they're not incompatible, but Brenay and Tim is more compatible. And you really can't do anything about the planets and the placements and the aspects and the alignments, You really can't, because they're just marked with how you're born. And when you get into a dynamic and all these things light up, I mean, it just is what it is. And it is what it is, right? But just keep in mind that this is like a surface level reading. There's many layers to doing relationships reading. I'm not, especially when you're doing a reading with multiple parties, because I do poly relationship readings as well. So with this, even though we did cover a lot, there's still a lot more to this dynamic, past, present, future. This is just like a gist of the aspects, right? But my question is this: why didn't Akira sue the husband for breaching a legal and emotional contract that she had with him? In addition, I'm not even saying that she shouldn't have did the lawsuit against Brenay, but why didn't she go after Tim as well? I know she felt betrayed from the friend, but the contract was with him. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But what I want y'all to do is I want y'all to comment below. Why do you think that? Why do you think that she didn't sue him as well? And then also let me know what you think about the reading. What do you think the outcome is going to be? And who would you like for me to do next? I do have another request for Rihanna and ASAP, so I'm working on that. But yeah, let me know what you think. Also, make sure that if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. I'm on all the platforms, or not all the platforms, but I'm on YouTube, Instagram, and X. All right. Like the video, share the video, and yeah, I would love to hear from you. Drop me got me some notes, and yeah, I guess that's it. That's all for now. This was a lot. This was a lot. But you know what? Like I said, I don't know any of them, and I wish them a bunch of love and the love that they deserve, the love that they want, the love that's most compatible for them. You know, I want healing for everyone and that everyone is able to move freely and peacefully from this day forward. All right, that's all for now. I'll see y'all in the next one. Salute, salute.